Do you really believe Donald Trump is staying calm about what's happening behind the scenes in American politics? Does this recent silence, this seemingly restrained posture, mean control or pure desperation? Get ready to learn the truth behind the quiet panic spreading through the Republican wing, because this time it wasn't a young activist, it wasn't a digital influencer, it wasn't a powerful CEO who exposed the dirty game. It was an 82-year-old woman, a seasoned senator, a political veteran, someone who's seen it all, and who decided she wouldn't stay quiet anymore. Eloise Lucas, a Democratic senator from Virginia, became the center of a political storm after publicly responding to Ted Cruz on social media. Her line was direct, raw, no sugarcoating. "You started this and we finish it." There was no diplomacy, no softening, no polished language. There was truth. There was outrage. There was courage. Within minutes, her response went viral. Thousands began sharing it. News outlets picked it up. Analysts debated it. Republicans bristled. Democrats got energized. And suddenly, the name of an 82-year-old senator was dominating the national conversation. But that was only the beginning. Soon came the attacks, like they always do. Instead of debating the substance of what she was calling out, her opponents went after the style. They complained that she was a senator and should watch her language, that she should be more polite, more appropriate, more respectful. That's when Eloise Lucas responded again. And this time, she was even more precise. She said she had learned over a lifetime that political correctness doesn't work on people who thrive on hate. That if you want to be heard, sometimes you have to speak the language your opponents understand. That softening words doesn't change behavior. That being polite to people who play dirty only makes it easier for them to keep playing dirty. That reply wasn't just a comeback. It was a declaration that she wasn't there to please anyone. She was there to fight. And behind those words was a much bigger strategy. The real reason for all the tension, all the nervousness, all the exaggerated Republican outrage wasn't the vocabulary of an 82-year-old woman. It was what she was doing behind the scenes, what she was organizing, what she was dismantling. The battlefield is called redistricting, the redrawing of electoral districts, a technical process that seems bureaucratic on the surface, but one that can decide the political future of a country. It determines how voters are grouped inside each district, who votes with whom, who has a majority, who becomes a minority, who has a chance, and who doesn't. And historically, that process has been used as a political weapon. For decades in the United States, parties have manipulated electoral maps to benefit their candidates, an operation known as gerrymandering, drawing districts with surgical precision to pack opposing voters into a few areas and spread your own voters across many. That's how you win elections without persuading anyone. That's how you win without a real majority. That's how you hold power artificially. And Donald Trump understands that very well. The year before, he pressured Republican governors, especially in Texas, to redraw electoral maps. The order was clear: wipe out as many Democratic districts as possible, create new Republican seats, lock in an advantage for the midterm elections. It was a calculated political operation, quiet, technical, and extremely dangerous for democracy. Some states accepted the pressure, others didn't. In Indiana, for example, Republican senators refused to participate in the scheme. They said openly they would not manipulate elections to benefit a president. They said they would let the people decide. But the plan continued elsewhere, and that's when Democrats pushed back. In California, under Gavin Newsom's leadership, a change was approved through a public vote that neutralized part of these maneuvers, legal, transparent, and validated by the people. In Virginia, the push gained momentum with Eloise Lucas. She and other Democratic leaders helped craft a change that gave the party real power to block manipulation. It wasn't fraud, it wasn't illegal, it was using the rules of the game to stop the game from being stolen. It was neutralizing the cheat. It was playing fair. And that sent Republicans into panic, because suddenly the artificial advantage was under threat. Suddenly, control was slipping. Suddenly, the house of cards started to wobble. Ted Cruz was one of the first to react. He called Virginia's initiative an abuse of power. He said it was an attack on democracy. He talked about an insult to institutions, but his words rang hollow, hypocritical, cynical, coming from someone who represents a state where gerrymandering has been taken to extremes, from someone who supports a leader who questioned elections, attacked the system, and tried to overturn legitimate results, from someone who benefits directly from these manipulations. Ted Cruz's criticism wasn't a defense of democracy. It was a defense of his own privilege. It was fear. It was frustration. It was desperation. Because for the first time in a long time, the playing field was being leveled. And when the field is level, the people who rely on cheating lose. Donald Trump watched all of this in silence. No major statements. No direct attacks. None of his usual explosive speeches. And many people interpreted that as calm, as maturity, as strategy. But anyone who understands politics knows what that silence means. It's not calm, it's caution, it's tension, it's insecurity, it's fear of making the wrong move. Trump has always responded aggressively when he felt strong. When he goes quiet, it's because he's cornered, and he is, because his main weapon for the next elections is being neutralized. Without manipulated districts, he has to win voters. He has to engage. He has to offer proposals. He has to unite people, and that has never been his strength. On top of that, the political climate is turning against him. Inflation is squeezing families. The cost of living keeps rising. Healthcare gets more expensive. Education hits people's wallets harder. Trust in institutions declines. And many voters blame the government. Internal polling shows wear and tear, fatigue, disillusionment, loss of support among groups that were once reliable, young voters, Latinos, women, independents. All of it creates a dangerous landscape, and Eloise Lucas saw it. She understood this was the moment to move, the moment to confront, the moment to dismantle the strategy before it was too late. And she did it with courage, no fear of age, no fear of criticism, no fear of attacks, no fear of being labeled too harsh. She used her experience as a weapon, her history as a shield, her voice as an instrument, and it worked. Today, her name has become a symbol of resistance, of firmness, of clarity, of someone who won't bend, and that deeply unsettles the Republican establishment, because it proves you don't have to be young, famous, or a billionaire to stand up to power. You just need conviction. Meanwhile, leaders like Mike Johnson have begun spreading doubt about elections, suggesting irregularities without evidence, questioning legitimate systems, hinting at fraud. An old strategy, used before, debunked before, but always effective at confusing people, creating chaos, undermining results, preparing the ground for contestation. But now, that strategy is meeting resistance. It's meeting vigilance. It's meeting politicians willing to confront the lie. Eloise Lucas represents that. She represents the generation that fought for civil rights, that lived through progress and backlash, that understands the value of democracy, that knows the price of silence. That's why she won't shut up. That's why she speaks the language that needs to be spoken, not to please, but to protect the vote, protect the process, protect the future. Donald Trump knows that. Ted Cruz knows that. The Republican leadership knows that. And that's why they're nervous. That's why they attack. That's why they try to discredit her. That's why they change the subject. That's why they play the victim. But it's not working. People see through it. Social media sees through it. The press sees through it. And more Americans understand this isn't about a fight over words. It's a war for power, a war for control, a war over the right to decide. And in that war, an 82-year-old woman has become one of the most feared figures in the political landscape. Not because she yells, not because she threatens, but because she moves, because she organizes, because she builds, because she dismantles schemes, because she exposes hypocrisy, because she won't sell out, because she won't be intimidated. Trump's silence isn't tranquility. It's calculation. It's fear. It's waiting. It's trying to understand the next move. But in this game, he no longer controls every piece, and that terrifies him. Now the question is simple. Will this little old lady from Virginia actually help bring down Donald Trump's political empire? Will her courage inspire others? Will more leaders stand up? Will the game finally be fair? The future is still being written, but one thing is already certain. Eloise Lucas has entered history as a symbol of resistance, as a voice of democracy, as proof that it's never too late to fight. and that sometimes the greatest threat to power doesn't come from young radicals, it comes from an 82-year-old woman who decided to say enough.